Hi, and welcome to the Assembly Lines podcast. I'm Chris Torrance. Today, I want to do our holiday gift guide. Regardless of which holiday you might celebrate, because 2020 was such a messed up year, it's nice to have something to look forward to. So I wanted to run down a list of new things that came out this year, as well as some old things too that might make great presents. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about are book ideas. There's been a lot of great new books that have come out this year, so let's take a look at them. The first book that I want to share is The Making of Prince of Persia by Jordan Mechner. He actually came out with this as an ebook several years ago and then as a small paperback, but this is a deluxe hardcover edition that just came out this past year, and it's beautiful. It details all of his journals from when he was a college student at Yale creating the game Prince of Persia. And he also talks a lot about Karateka, which was the precursor to that game. The book is really beautifully put together. It has lots of great images of movie stills that he used when he was developing the game. And then the cool thing about the new edition is that it has a lot of sketches by Jordan Mechner himself of various people in the game industry at the time. The next two books that I want to talk about are actually self-published. The first one of these self-published books is called Not All Fairy Tales Have Happy Endings, and this is by Ken Williams, and it chronicles the rise and fall of Sierra Online. One of the most interesting chapters details the relationship between Sierra Online and Broderbund. Broderbund was another Apple II company at the time, and back then they weren't really competitors, but they were actually friends who were all trying to see what they could do in the Apple II community. And he goes into great details about the relationship with the two companies and how they almost merged together. The last book that I want to talk about is called Imagine That, and it's written by Ed Smith, who was one of the first African-American video game designers. The book talks about his entire career, first starting out when he was an engineer at APF Electronics, where he worked on their M1000 video game console, and then was the chief designer for the Imagination Machine, which was an add-on to the game console that turned it into a computer. He then goes on to describe the rest of his career, working for other companies such as Apple and Novell. What I found most fascinating was what he had to overcome growing up in the slums of Brownsville, Brooklyn in the 1970s, during a time when a career in the electronics industry for an African American was unheard of, and just all the challenges that he faced and was able to overcome. The book is Imagine That by Ed Smith, and I'll have links in the show notes for where you can pick up all of these books. Last but not least in my book list, I want to point out that I have copies of Roger Wagner's Assembly Lines on my web store, and in addition to the hardcover edition, I now have coil-bound editions, and this is actually really nice because you can open it up and it lays flat on your desk, making it a lot easier to read and learn how to do assembly language programming. Again, I'll have links in the show notes for those. Let's move on now to gift items for hardware for your Apple II computer. The first few items that I want to share are all from Henry Corbis at Reactive Micro. The first of these is the Universal Power Supply, which is a kit that lets you replace the guts of your existing power supply in your Apple II, 2GS, or Apple III. The cool thing about this is it's adaptable to a wide array of power supplies using a board where you just snap off the different lengths depending on which one you have. The Phaser sound card allows you to add the capabilities of 2 Mockingbird sound cards to your Apple II with just one slot. And this is available as either a kit or pre-built. One really cool item that Henry added to his store this year is the Apple II Replica board. And I showed a build of this on my channel, and I'll have a link in the show notes to that. The last item that I want to talk about from Reactive Micro is the AV to HDMI, which is an adapter that lets you convert the composite video of your Apple II to HDMI. Henry also has an optional LCD monitor that works really well with the Apple II, either in composite or with the HDMI adapter. Speaking of sound cards, you might want to take a look at the SD Music Deluxe from Ian Kim. This card both emulates a Mockingbird and is also highly customizable and programmable with your own sounds. Also in the hardware department, we have the Saturn 128 card from David Munimer, and this adds 128K of memory to your Apple II, II Plus, or IIe. We have the multi-ROM, again from David Munimer, which lets your Apple II, II Plus, or IIe boot into different ROMs, including AppleSoft or Integer Basic, as well as a lot of diagnostic ROMs. Another cool product that came out this year is the ROM X by Dean Claxton and Jeff Mazur. This is a drop-in ROM chip that replaces the ROMs on your Apple II Plus, and like the multi-ROM, it gives you access to lots of different ROMs instantly at boot time. The cool thing about the ROM X is it's highly configurable and it's also programmable with your own ROMs. The last hardware item is the A2IO, which I just detailed in my previous video, and this lets you hook up a modern Bluetooth game controller to your Apple II.
What was once old is new again.
Another item you might want to take a look at is the Knox RS computer role-playing game, which is due to come out in just a few weeks for the Apple II line of computers. And this was originally a Kickstarter, but you can also go to the website and pre-order it. And as you can see, it comes with the game box, a full color cloth map, a 125-page manual, as well as a whole bunch of other items to enjoy while you're playing the game. If you're looking for some retro computer wear, there are a lot of great t-shirts out there. For example, on Javier Rivera's 8-Bit Tees store, he has lots of t-shirts, including ones for Wizardry, Karateka, and Beagle Brothers. On Joe Strohsnyder's website, he has a ton of awesome t-shirts. For example, here's his 8 Bits Are All You Need t-shirt. He also sells the cool Apple LED kit. Finally, on my own website, I have lots of fun t-shirts and sweatshirts for sale, so be sure to check those out. I think that rounds it out for this year's list of holiday gift ideas. If you have your own gift ideas, please put a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me that way. Once again, thanks for watching.